Hello and welcome to the IGN UK podcast. I am Alex, and this week I'm joined by Luke Kamali on my right.
Hello.
And Chris Tilley on my left.
Bonjour.
Now, we have a absolutely jam-packed show today with loads of news, so we're going to get straight on with it. And Nintendo has had some bad news, I guess?
Yeah, so they've released their third quarter financials. So it's the financial results for the 9 months leading up to December of last year. And profits are down 30% year on year, which is not good. And so Satoru Iwata... Got your Iwata joke?
No, not going
to say it this time. Okay, so Satoru Iwata has agreed to take a 50% pay cut for 5 months, and the rest of the board are going to take between 20 to 30% pay cut, and as basically an apology for the fact that this has happened.
So he must be on a ridiculous amount of money if that's going to make any kind of impact, right?
As far as I'm aware, he already, because last year's results weren't great, he already took something like a 25% cut last year. So now he's taken a 50% cut on a 25% cut. And so he's still clearly rolling in it.
Or he's just doing it because he loves it.
Yeah, well, he is, he's got a sense of honour about it all, I think.
Is that going to make any difference, though? Surely it's just...
It's only 5 months as well.
Yeah, for 5 months, which is quite a random... period of time as well. Why 5 months?
I think his hope is because the financial year will end, and so they're hoping maybe it picks up, or maybe they announced release dates last night. So Mario Kart is out in May, so I think maybe they're hoping that they might see a bit of a turnaround within 5 months.
Actually, the truth is, it's his wife's birthday in June, and he always expects massive presents. So
Can't
that's
afford
why he needs the money back.
So this is more a symbolic gesture, isn't it? Though, than anything that's actually going to affect the company.
Yeah, I mean,
unless he really does earn a ridiculous amount of money.
He earns their entire deficit.
Yeah.
And other than that, in terms of figures, the Wii U is now on 2.41 million consoles sold since April of last year. Yep. So in 9 months, 2.41 million. And I believe they just revised their sales down, didn't they, their expectations? They now want to sell 2.8 by April. So they need to sell 400,000 Wii U's by the end of April, 3 months.
But so Mario Kart doesn't come out till May, right?
No, I'm trying to think of I don't think there are any massive releases.
Yeah.
Smash Bros and stuff is afterwards as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, the point that they're making that's worrying is that Christmas just came and still they didn't. Then they do say that Nintendo actually said it's been hamstrung by the costs of manufacturing the Wii U and the fact that they've had to make all these price cuts.
Yeah.
And last night, Iwata in a call to investors did actually say, oh, yeah, the gamepad is our problem because everyone just thinks of it as a peripheral for the Wii rather than a console in itself.
Yeah, well, that's it. They're focusing on the gamepad. But the other thing that I think, yes, it's had a tough start, but surely once Mario Kart is out and then Smash Brothers comes out, suddenly it becomes an interesting proposition because you've got all of the other games out there, which are good, just not quite good enough to be a system seller. So you could go and buy your Wii U for Mario Kart, but then go and pick up Pikmin, the other Mario game, which I forget its name for, all for a bargain price, and then suddenly you've got a good library of games.
Yeah, I mean, once you've got
it might get better.
Yeah, once you've got a decent attach rate, I think it becomes such a because that's what happened with me with the Wii when it just got to the stage where I was like, actually, I can go out and buy it and get all these games in a bundle, and then these two outside of it. Yeah. It's totally worth it. So I think there is still hope for it. It's just a case of, it's going, and I think that's a good gesture on his path. Well done.
Is that common though that people are going to go and buy the slightly older system because it's come down in price, or will they not just be saving up for the next gen, which is what I would have thought the majority of people are doing?
I assume we're looking at a good year maybe, but maybe next Christmas, I'd say.
I also think as a secondary console, it all depends on the price. If you can pick up a Wii U plus a really good first party game for under £200 and you've already got your Xbox One and your PS4, it might happen.
And it is different enough, isn't it? And they're different enough games. So.
Yeah. But I think the other interesting thing that you mentioned was that they are looking to broaden their licensing partnerships.
Yes.
Because they do, obviously, some clothes and soups.
Pasta soups, yeah.
Pasta shells and stuff like that. But Krupa and I were talking, I think it would be amazing if they had the same belief in their characters that Disney do.
Yeah.
Because they've got such iconic characters, but they don't really do that much with them outside of traditional games. So I don't know, I hope they do something exciting.
They made a cracking Mario movie back in the day.
They did bring that back, the sequel that never was.
But again, Krupa and I were talking about on a video that we're going to put live, but imagine if they did Mario animated show that goes on kids TV, but then they had a Zelda film that was a bit darker for kind of the cinema, that was directed by Del Toro or something like that. That'd be amazing.
But like that trailer, we did a fake trailer about 6 years ago for a Zelda movie that should have been.
Well, that's it. You could have the Wind Waker style Zelda for the cartoon series, and then adult Zelda for killing people.
Oh, adult Zelda.
Sexy.
I'm
Sexy
interested.
adult Zelda.
Sexy Pokemon.
Triple X.
Pokemon Triple X, exactly. So,
Talking about
in
Pokeballs.
other news, Microsoft, well, it's not news really, it's rumour. The internet was set on fire earlier today because according to rumoured reports, there is going to be a white Xbox One coming later this year.
Yes.
Now, the white Xbox One was already available to Microsoft employees who worked on the project.
It's given as a gift to them, yeah.
And it looks quite nice. It's the Xbox One, but white. But more interestingly, they are apparently working on a diskless version, so one that won't have an optical drive, and a one with storage of up to 1 terabyte, which is, I believe, twice what it is currently.
I think so, yeah, it's 500 gigs.
Yeah. So, interesting, but true.
Don't know. So this rumour comes from NeoGAF, and there's been quite a lot of people being like, oh, it's just a random internet forum. For those who don't know, NeoGAF is basically a big rumour forum, but to get on, you've got to basically go through quite a big vetting process where you kind of work under a pseudonym, but you have to prove yourself to the runners of the forum that you are who you say you are, basically. And this person has proved himself as an employee of Microsoft. Supposedly, he's gone through the vetting process, and he's convinced he's gone through the pretty rigorous tests that they put people through. Having said that, that doesn't mean what he's saying is true.
No.
He could be, still bullshitting, but there's a lot of stuff that comes out.
Yeah. Also, the other thing is a Titanfall themed console, which would make sense. They've got the gamepad already, and that is the one Xbox title that everybody's kind of excited about. But you would hope that they're going to announce it soon because the game itself is out in 6 weeks. So
the white one's meant to come out in October, and then the 1 terabyte is meant to be a limited edition one for November. The blue one, so The Verge has actually confirmed some of this, but the Blu-ray one, the one without the Blu-ray, the one, Jonathan Ross here again, the one without the Blu-ray disc is just them testing it. And the size of all these games, surely that's got to be, my thought is that that's a cheaper one that's more your entertainment console, for your streaming and Netflix and all these other kind of entertainment services they have at a slightly lower price point. That's the only way that I can really see that working. Well,
that's it. If you look at Dead Rising, and the patch for that was 13 gig, I think, last week.
Yeah, a compulsory patch.
And that's just a patch of the game. So imagine the downloads of a full game itself. Your hard drive would fill very, very quickly.
Yeah, I can't see that happening.
Other news around Xbox One. So there is rumoured to be Halo 2 Anniversary coming out on Xbox One, which is kind of exciting if you're a Halo fan. Obviously, the new Halo is coming out later this year, apparently.
Yeah, so this guy then went on to say that Halo 5 is slipped to next year. But Halo 2 Anniversary is meant to be coming this year. And there'll be a special edition of that will also include HD ports of Halo 3 and Halo 4 for Xbox One.
Right. I thought Halo 2 was a bit weak.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I preferred it to 3.
Yeah, but 1 was the best.
Yeah, agreed.
Apart from Library, that was boring. Crackdown 3, not next year, the year after. So
2016.
No announcement at E3, which I think is sad. Crackdown's one of my favourite games.
I know.
So
I quite enjoyed that. I mean, I think it's plausible. The stuff he's saying, a lot of it does sound very true. The whole thing about the updated Halos, I'm curious about, but I don't know. A lot of the stuff could be. He says that Fable Legends is going to be next year. Quantum Break at Christmas. Sunset Overdrive again is meant to be October with this white Xbox. I mean, I could see it all coming. They've got they obviously have a target and they have plans and stuff. So
speaking about the white Xbox, can I ask a stupid question?
Yes,
as I always do.
Go on, then.
How much do people care about what colour their console is?
I think a lot.
Really?
Yeah, more than you'd think.
Yeah. Like Keza used to talk about, she had a silver PlayStation 3 that you could only get in Japan, and that meant an awful lot to her. But if it's on show in your front room, like everything in my front room kind of complements being black. So if I had a black PS4 and then a white Xbox, wouldn't go well together.
Yin and yang.
No, I'm not digging
Good
that.
and evil.
I'm not digging that. I want it to be uniform.
Okay.
Parity.
Oh, I just wondered because it's never really mattered to me. Like when I've gone to buy an iPod or whatever, I was never really bothered about what colour it was.
Well, you'll just go for anything.
So you don't
it
matter
was white or black, wasn't it, normally? I
Yeah.
mean, I wouldn't get a pink one.
It's
it was
better.
always white or black. And it
But
seems
you've
to be
always
that
gone
way.
black, right?
I think so. Although initially you couldn't get black ones, you only got white iPod, didn't you?
So it was a bit of a novelty, wasn't it?
Once you try black, you never go back. That's the phrase, isn't it? Right. So
change the subject.
Shifted on. X-Men costumes were revealed earlier this week.
Yeah, there was a huge launch this week that Fox did via Empire. Quite an annoying one, if you ask me. I didn't think it was a very pleasant experience for fans because they released one every hour for 25 hours. So, I don't know no one's going to stay up for 25 hours. And I think if we were given the choice, we'd rather do one big launch with everything at once. I think it's annoying having to keep bookmarking a page and keep coming back. Plus, it kept not bloody loading whenever I tried to look at it.
And also, as we will talk about in a minute, there were some hours where you really felt shortchanged.
Some hours were a waste of your time.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was 25 characters, or I guess probably 22 characters because Bryan Singer was one of them.
Oh.
He doesn't count. He's director.
No.
And you had 2 Magnetos, I guess, and 2 Professor X's.
Yes.
But we got our first look at a lot of the characters. And the reaction, I think, has been mixed, to say the least, online. And in our office, really. Yeah. I don't think we were particularly impressed.
Because it started off with the Sentinel, right?
Yeah, which looked awesome.
The like olden day Sentinel. And we were like, this looks incredible. This is going to be amazing. And then as the hours roll by, we got... Though Toad, I wasn't completely sold on.
Yeah.
No, I mean, but I guess that no one really liked Toad in X2. I don't know about you guys, but I wasn't a fan. And so I think maybe it's the character we're annoyed with. And maybe a new look and a new... I guess you've got to see him in motion before you kind of make up your mind about him.
I mean, all you can see in him there is that he's just got warts. He's like got mumps behind it. Like, it just looks like he's got a lot of mumps.
I think part of my problem is... So I think, actually... the whole image, because it's one whole image that joins together, which I think is very, very clever. Mm-hmm. My problem is that the way that they've used some of the character illustrations just doesn't work very well as a front cover of a magazine.
No.
Like looking at Beast here, it's just pretty dull. It looks like he's wearing a nice little comfortable sweater, but there's no engagement. And that one there,
Stryker
of Stryker, is if I saw that and I'd be like, X-Men, I love X-Men. Oh. I'm not going to go.
Yeah, I guess by having all 23, 25, you're going to have some that aren't as exciting as others. Aren't you?
Which one did we not like? Quicksilver, right?
Well, Quicksilver, we've got a video on the site actually, like a 5-minute video discussing that from our comic guy in the States. He wasn't as against it as maybe. I don't think we weren't impressed with Quicksilver, although he did have silver hair.
So there you go.
What they've done there.
That's Quicksilver there.
I think Quicksilver looks terrible. Because it just looks like some of the worst Photoshop I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's not fantastic.
And I'm sure in the film it'll be a lot better when it's moving and stuff is happening.
I mean, I query the casting of Evan Peters personally, but I don't. That's just my personal opinion on that one. I think he usually plays like the goofy sidekick. He's in Kick-Ass as the nerdy sidekick. And I don't know, they made him a cool mutant. And I just think he's also in Scott Pilgrim as well. It's just very unusual for him to play it.
The Magneto cover looks cool.
Yeah.
Like when you've got the main characters who have obviously been photographed for a magazine cover in those specific poses, that looks cool.
Yeah.
But to me, it's the other stuff that is just like, God, we've got to get 25 of these done.
Yeah.
It looks like it's been shoehorned in a little bit.
Like a square peg in a round hole with some of them. With Quicksilver, it looks like something from like a cheap B-movie superhero movie rather than... But I guess if you cast your mind back, or I certainly remember when we got our first look at the X-Men first time around with Bryan Singer, no one really liked the outfits, and then there was no problem with them once we got into the movie.
Yep.
But I guess at the time everyone was scared. Everyone thought that if comic book characters wore their actual comic book suits in the movies, people would laugh.
Yeah.
And so they went leather and went cool. And since then, we've actually discovered that audiences don't mind now. I mean, we got Captain America in full kind of camp Captain America regalia, and he looks great. He looks awesome. Yeah. So this is almost... I don't wonder if this is almost a step back, but...
Yeah, maybe.
Because they don't really look that much like their comic book counterparts.
Yeah.
They're more in line, I guess, with Singer's old movies, but I don't know. We'll see. I guess we'll have a trailer soon, so...
See, is that Peter Dinklage?
It is,
indeed.
as Trask.
He's the craziest cover I've ever seen.
He creates
just
the
this tiny little head in the middle of the page.
Why are you being so heightist?
I'm not, but I just think...
massively heightist.
I just think as a cover, he also looks like some kind of like... midget porn star.
He looks cool.
So if you can see it there, I don't know if you can, but
Google it.
Google it.
He's gonna be the star of the movie, though.
The Jennifer Lawrence cover is going to sell quite well, I imagine.
Yeah, that's the one, isn't
the
it?
one where she's literally just like got her scales on, facing the camera. Yeah.
Proper boob.
Proper
boob shot.
That
So
is.
have they actually created all of these covers for newsstands, or is it just for digital
I think they have, but probably not in equal amounts. I imagine they made 3 Quicksilver
Well, that's
copies
it.
and about 20 million
Yeah,
Jennifer
the Bryan
Lawrence
Singer
ones.
one's
Yeah,
not
the
going to be a
director.
big.
That is a bit of a vanity shot there, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think it's had a bit of a negative effect, which is a shame, really.
Yeah.
I'm certainly less excited now than I think.
I agree.
3 or 4 weeks ago we talked about our most anticipated films. This was really high on my list, and now I'm a bit meh.
Yeah.
But as I say, don't want to judge it before
No.
we've seen them in action.
I worry they're trying to cram too many in, and because there's a lot of everyone has a different favourite, right? And I'm worried that not enough of them are going to get screen time for it to be worthwhile.
Who's your favourite, Luke?
What X-Man woman thing? I quite like Storm actually, but I don't like Halle Berry, which is problematic for me. Not that problematic really, but
You'll get over
bothers
it.
me every now and then.
Okay. Who's your favourite, Alex?
It's probably either Magneto or Professor X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I quite like Jean Grey as well. I'm going to take 2.
I really, really like. I've forgotten his name, but Gandalf. Him. I like him.
You like Ian McKellen?
Yeah. I like Gandalf. I want Gandalf in all of my films. So, in other news, Gears of War is returning to its original, daddy.
Yes, so Microsoft have acquired the rights for Gears of War from Epic Games. So there you go. So that now means that there was some talk a while ago, some speculation that maybe the Gears series would make its way onto PlayStation at some time. Microsoft have clearly decided they do not want to allow that to happen. So they have bought all the rights to all future games and also all past games. So Epic Games will now no longer be involved in creating new ones, and instead they've given it to Black Tusk Studios. Now, Black Tusk Studios was originally Microsoft Vancouver. It was renamed last year. They haven't actually made a game yet. When they were set up, they were described as going to create the next Halo. So that was their project. That's what they've been working
Scratch out
on.
Gears of War.
Yeah, the next
very quick.
the next Gears of War. So we're going to create the next Halo type thing,
Yeah.
and it's gone all right. A trailer was shown at E3 I think last year, but it was more of a concept piece, and supposedly their game has now been put on ice, while they instead focus on the new Gears. This guy who leaked the stuff on NeoGAF this morning has claimed that we won't be seeing anything for about two and a bit years.
Wow. There's not a lot coming. Is there? I really hope there are some decent announcements at E3.
I do.
Rather than just slippages from last E3.
Oh, there's just too many HD remakes for my liking. But I don't know. It's kind of good because Judgment was a real lapse in kind of quality for the Gears series. So I'm concerned that they actually
People still liked it though.
True, but it's weird. I was at the gym, humble brag, and I heard some people talking about it. And I heard some people talking about this, being like, "Oh, did you hear that Microsoft got Gears?" And they were like, "Yeah,
At the gym?
yeah." And they were like, "Yeah, but I'm just kind of over it." And a lot of people, I think, are kind of are over. Look, a lot of people are kind of over the Gears series
At the gym,
at the gym,
obviously.
So it's what
Like
make it
bench pressing.
And so
Yeah,
I'm just
over
saying,
it, man.
I'm just saying that I think they maybe need a new idea.
Yeah. The voice of the people.
I don't know.
Come on.
I'm reporting. That's what I do.
What else did you hear at your gym lately, Luke?
Exactly.
All manner of things.
Any other exclusives?
Nothing that I'm always vox popping. You
What
know
are the
me?
feelings on Quicksilver at the gym?
Not very positive, I can
No.
tell you.
Really?
No.
No, it's the hair.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm kind of over Gears as well. I'm quite excited for the new Halo though.
Yeah.
No, Alex?
Well, I've kind of fallen out of love with Halo. It's just
Okay.
I want to see something new.
Yeah.
I'm more excited by kind of Destiny, see what Bungie is doing with that.
Well, this
So,
game that they were working on was meant to be called Shanghaiist.
see what they've done there.
Oh, I like that.
That sounds great, but now apparently it's been cancelled. So, or put on ice, put on hold.
Yeah.
So.
So last piece of news was this morning, and news that the PlayStation Vita Slim is finally coming. Well, not really to the West, but to the UK. That's the only news that we know.
Yeah.
So no mention of Europe, no mention of America, but it will come to the UK next week on the 7th of February for a suggested retail price of £180, which is quite expensive because you can pick up the existing PlayStation Vita, which has got a better screen, but doesn't have internal storage and the battery life's not quite so good, but for about 160 quid with a 16 gig memory card and games.
Is that weird to announce it just a week before it comes out?
It's the Apple model, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. And it's not coming out alongside the other one. It's phasing the other one out. So basically, what's happened is they probably haven't been producing those models for quite a long time now, waiting for stock to get low.
Yeah.
And now they're going to get rid of it. The only thing that this is the cynical me, is that maybe there are still a ton of original Vitas left in the US and across Europe, which is why they haven't announced it for that yet. I don't know. I might be completely wrong. But it just feels odd why they would announce it for the UK and no other territory.
I wonder if it's a bit of a test market. My big thought is the UK is one of the best places the PS4 has been selling, right? It's one of the top sellers. So I think they want to test if there's demand for remote play. So they want to see if, now that, because not that many people have a Vita compared to how many now have a PS4, with the lure of remote play, we haven't seen how they're going to advertise this. Are they going to advertise it, emphasising that connection? It's on the box. Oh, there you go.
It's on the front of the box and it's on the back of the box saying, it's all about compatible with PS4 remote play. So
I think that's it.
A key part for them. And I think I had a chat with a few people.
At the gym?
At the gym, yeah. While I was bench pressing 150. Had a chat with a marketing guy at Sony. No, it was, just before Christmas. I was talking to somebody at Sony over a drink, not over the water cooler at Luke's gym.
Yeah.
And he was basically saying that is not a mistake, but something that they wanted to rectify quickly. Is that it's such a cool piece of functionality, the remote play, that's going to be the thing they're going to push hard. Right. I just didn't expect it to happen this quickly. So.
No.
Yeah, exciting times if you are a PlayStation fan. So that's it for this week's news. Should we move on to listener feedback?
Yes, and I believe I have the first piece.
You do.
It is from a young man called Max Fuller, and it refers to last week's podcast, which I wasn't on, so... No, you'll have to help me on this one.
Do our best.
Last week, if you didn't know... it doesn't refer to last week.
Right.
Last week, if you didn't know, BT experimented with the speed of internet speeds that they could get and managed to reach 1.4 TB speeds. My question is, when do you think that speeds this fast will become mainstream?
Well, it depends what you mean by mainstream, because right now, I don't have access to particularly fast broadband where I am. Like, not even close to anywhere near that. So I'm getting about 11 meg at the minute, which it says that I should be able to do remote play on that speed, but I can't do it using my PS4. It's just juddery as hell. So, I don't think that is going to be around for at least 3 to 4 years.
Well, I mean, we only got faster stuff in London really recently, right? Yeah. So fibre became quite mainstream in London middle of last year, maybe.
But also, Krupa keeps on talking about his mum who lives north of the border, and she's got a 100 meg line. So it is obviously out there. But for me, it's not just about how accessible it is. It's about the price.
Yeah. And
I don't really need that kind of speed at the minute. So until it comes down,
PlayStation Now is what.
But that's years away.
Yeah.
I think. So until I need a speed that fast, because what I've got at the minute serves me perfectly well. I can play online games. As I say, the only thing it struggles with, and that might be more of a router thing, is remote play. So I don't know.
Also, Max follows that up with a question. Also, do you remember the first piece of Reader FU that you ever got?
No.
He does. He says, I do. A grumpy man swore at you guys and said something along the lines of, why don't you pick up your phones? Oh, sorry. I want an Uncharted 2 beta key, and then another swear word. So that was apparently our first piece of...
That's right, we did have a phone. We used to allow people to phone in and leave us messages. But most of the time it's just people swearing.
And Max is a big fan of the... phone and says bring back...
Big fan of the phone. That's good to know.
He says bring back the IGN hotline for Reader FU. That's what made some of your shows priceless.
The old methods are the best.
Should we do that?
We can set that up. Well,
yeah.
Why don't you read out your mobile phone and people can leave you messages on that?
Okay. Alex Simmons.
Second piece of feedback.
Okay, from Nick Osborne, who says, hi all, IGN feedback virgin here. We'll be gentle with you. In a completely unrelated topic to the podcast, I've been reading a Deadpool article on IGN. As a non-comic reader, I first came across Deadpool on Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and he was one of my favourite characters. And regardless of the fact that I recently assumed he was on Mortal Kombat vs. DC, as he's so similar to Deathstroke.
Yeah.
I presume his comical side is what makes him most endearing, but why do you think he's so popular? I'd like to hear what your opinions are on this, and also, do you know of any progress on the Deadpool movie front? Chris Tilley.
Shall I address the second question? Do you want to answer the first bit?
What makes him so popular?
Why do you like Deadpool?
Well, he's just a bit of a wisecracking sort of funny guy.
He's the merc with a mouth.
He's the way he breaks the
He
fourth
is,
wall.
yes. And the Deadpool game came out. Was that this year? Sorry, last year?
Yeah,
it was last year.
It was buried slightly, wasn't
and
it?
It wasn't a great game, but some of the humour was quite funny.
Yeah, there was a lot of excitement for it. I remember people getting quite, worked up for that, and then it came out, and everyone was like, "Oh, yeah, this."
That's true, actually. Like when we I think we had the exclusive on the first trailer, and people went nuts for it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the game didn't quite live up to the trailer.
Game was a bit shit.
What can you do?
Yeah.
As for the movie, at the end of last year, there was a bit of an update from the director and from the star, Ryan Reynolds, who's still going to play Deadpool as he did in the X-Men movie that was pretty...
Really
the
Ryan
Wolverine movie
Reynolds.
was bloody awful. I'm afraid he's got the part as it stands.
He's made one good film, and that's the film when he's in a box.
Buried.
Yeah.
He did a couple of funny comedies a while ago.
I quite like Just Friends.
I quite like
Just Friends is quite good, right? Yeah.
He's a bit weird looking. His eyes too close together. He's got a bit of a piggy face. Don't want to see him in my superhero movies.
Jeez, leave him alone.
Sorry.
And what he's been talking about them trying to do is make a low budget, almost independent Deadpool movie, so it wouldn't cost a lot of money, wouldn't be a lot of risk to the studio Fox, and then they can make it with the R rating that they want to make, because I think everyone agrees that Deadpool needs to be a more hardcore. I think they've got to take the lead from film, not the film, but the character like Punisher and Blade, that kind of approach to it, rather than superheroes for kids.
Am I right in thinking he's in the X-Men? He's in Days of
He
Future
was
Past?
in Wolverine.
Is he going to be in Days of Future Past? Because it looked like he was the one on one of the covers.
Well, he does look like one of the covers.
He's not, unless they've done it secretly. That wasn't him.
Okay. Whoops. I was looking over Alex's shoulder.
Yeah. But it may have been someone else photoshopping it.
Yeah.
I was just looking at Google.
True.
So, another email from Luke Gora, who says, like most people, I was cautiously optimistic when Disney bought George Lucas out. Not literally bought him out, rolled him across.
Wheeled him out.
But he said the prospect of a new Star Wars film was alluring. Disney hadn't done too bad a job with Marvel. Now, several months down the track, Disney has shut down LucasArts, cancelled Clone Wars, consigned 1313 to Oblivion, and now has their sights set on screwing up the expanded universe as well. Ooh, he's not very happy, is he? Think of it what you will, but I'm a big fan of Star Wars EU. What's EU?
Expanded universe.
Oh, okay. I thought he was just talking about Europe.
About Europe? No, the
He
expanded
really doesn't
universe.
like Star Wars in North America, but Europe loves it. And has been reading and collecting the books since high school. He's now 33. Disney have now placed all upcoming books on indefinite hold until they sort out their own continuity, effectively cancelling all upcoming trilogies that he was looking forward to. And then he has lots of expletives towards Disney, which I'm not going to read out. Anyway, so that's it. I think he just wants to vent.
He's having a rant.
I don't really blame him.
Yeah.
I agree.
Anyway, love the podcast. Keep up the good work. We hope you feel better soon, Luke.
I have an email from Edward Sweet, who wrote in last week.
Sweet.
This is the one I was talking about, where I wasn't in last week, so you'll have to help me.
Yep.
And he says, thanks very much for mentioning my piece of feedback.
You are welcome.
I noticed that you were unsure about which platforms I have. I have every Nintendo home console all the way back to the Super Nintendo, including the Wii U. The games you suggest...
I like the fact he adds that on. It's like, I've got Wii U too.
The games
Be
you
proud.
suggest don't have to be PS3 exclusives, so all games are, well, fair game. And then he goes to contradict that by saying, however, I'm not a huge fan of sports games or RPGs. Despite this, I like a lot of genres, particularly action, shooter, and rhythm action. I hope that clarifies things. He's given a bunch of examples, but I'm not going to read all them out.
Right.
So I don't even know what this is in reference to.
So I think he wrote... Was he the guy who wrote in and asked for games that were under 18?
That's a good question. I thought he was just asking... That was a different person,
Are
wasn't
you
it?
sure? There was a guy who wanted 3DS games, and there was a guy who wanted...
You picked this piece of feedback for us to read out, Luke.
I did, didn't I? I was in a rush.
Give us some context.
Ultimately, get The Last of Us. If you want under 18 games, don't get The Last of Us.
But I can help you with that, actually.
Go on, then.
So, if we move on to our next piece of podcast, which is from Ben Brown.
The next piece of podcast?
Next piece of podcast feedback, even, who's from Ben Brown. He said he's listened to the podcast and you asked people to email in with suggestions of great games that aren't rated 18. Whilst it's a shame to miss out on The Last of Us, there are some pretty damn good games out there. Example, The Unfinished Swan, 3D Dot Game Heroes, Rayman Origins and Rayman Legends, Little Big Planet, Puppeteer, Sly 4, Thieves in Time, Ratchet & Clank, Infamous, Katamari Forever, all the Pixel Junk games, Shooter 2 is a favourite of mine, and Tokyo Jungle. Also lots of JRPGs like Ni no Kuni, which I keep trying to ram down everyone's throats.
He doesn't like RPGs. Correct.
HD collections are great for people who've never had the chance to play them. Okami HD and the Oddworld games get a special shout out.
Oh, well, that's interesting because the Oddworld games I thought were great for their time. I can't really see them translating that well now, but I haven't gone back, so maybe I should.
I've never played them. I should probably play
Just
them.
lots of kind of little green monsters doing burps and farts.
Oh.
Right up your alley.
Right up doing bits and farts up my alley. That
was a good
lovely.
piece of podcast, though.
That was.
Luke, thank you for that piece
Lovely
of podcast.
piece of podcast.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you for your feedback. Another
Thank you,
piece
Ben Brown.
from Ryan Calderbank, aka like Calders. So, hey guys. Recently, your America counterparts posted a video about 4K TVs, and in the video, they started discussing the problems with current media like Blu-ray, which are unable to support large files that it takes for 4K content. Obviously, 4K content, in theory, is going to be 4 times the size of traditional Blu-ray. So his question is, I don't understand why they don't get rid of discs altogether and use flash drives or big hard drives to transfer media. How does that work? Like, if you want to go and buy a film, you get a hard drive for every single movie? Or you go and... Because the thing is, right, you could have it at home that you download it onto, but the file size is going to be enormous. Like, that would take forever. I don't really understand I don't understand it. So hang on, he has got a few... Like, so he says... Yes, it will be expensive.
I'm sorry, I thought Stu was going to be on the podcast.
But basically, instead of a disc, just something that plugs into USB and works like a DVD. Everything is USB with the USB transfer rate. Yeah, I get all that. But my bigger point is what? Do you just download it at home? Because if that's the case, then you can already do that, right? Mm-hmm. The bigger thing is...
Legally and illegally.
How do you go to a retail shop and buy it? That's the bit that I don't really understand what he's saying here. But anyway, thank you for your feedback, Calders.
Will we have any help?
I don't think we answered that question, but you know what?
No.
Stu isn't here, so...
We had fun with it, though.
Yeah.
But he's just talking about big things, fitting in small things.
Okay. I have an email from James Coy from Canada, Ontario, Toronto. And apparently...
Should I go down to his specific address then?
I could give out his email, but I won't. Apparently, we got the release date of Star Wars wrong last week. So well done, everyone. So it's not May 2015. It's coming out December the 18th, 2015. It was pushed back. So thanks for pointing that out.
Missed opportunity.
And also, he just said that he likes the podcast because the things we talk about are much more in line with Canadian culture, like Doctor Who, which he watched as a kid in Canada. So nice.
Good shout.
Thank you for that.
Is that the last piece?
No, I've one final piece. So this is from Jim Campy, who he's talking about gold membership on Xbox One. Hi guys, I've been an Xbox owner since day one in the UK, and I joined the beta version of Xbox Live when it first arrived here. What I'd like to know is why there are no extras for gold membership for Xbox One. The 360 is still getting free games twice a month, although they're not as good as Sony's offerings. But for those of us who shelled out for the new console, there's absolutely expletive all. It's about time Microsoft got their finger out of their expletive and give us, the people supporting the new console, something to say thank you. What are your thoughts? By the way, love your show. At 60, I'm probably one of your oldest listeners.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah. So thank you for that, Jim.
Nearly as old as Stu.
I know. Not quite, but... I kind
He's
of...
dead now. That's why he's not on today's show. Bless him. Rest in peace, Stu.
Still sitting at his desk.
Mr. Reed. So I understand what he means. I don't understand really why Xbox One Gold membership don't get something free. Because even on PS4, you're not getting as much as you did on PS3.
No,
but with PS Plus,
you're getting some cool games. Like already there have been Resogun, Contrast.
Don't Starve?
Out. Oh, what's the out?
The one that isn't the other one. It's Outlast, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then there's Don't Starve as well.
Yeah. And so already, you've got 4 games, 4 good games that have come out for PS4. The problem is Microsoft can't even get the proposition right for Xbox 360, and that's got a massive back catalogue of games. So I just think probably a little bit too early, but yeah.
I don't know. Well, I mean, that whole thing this week about the fact that, the Elder Scrolls Online, you can play on Sony without a PS Plus subscription,
Yep.
whereas you have to have an Xbox Live Gold subscription if you want to play it on Xbox One. And so I think there are elements of just perhaps Microsoft is not that easy to deal with publishers, so perhaps publishers aren't that keen to deal with. Because I know Bethesda...
You've made a massive assumption there.
I have made a massive assumption, but I know Bethesda have stated multiple times that they have desperately tried to make it so that the Elder Scrolls Online can be played without a subscription, and Microsoft has refused to play ball. So because Microsoft has refused to play ball with them, I'm assuming that maybe there is just... They wouldn't necessarily want to make their games free.
Yep.
Possibly. Bit of give, bit of take.
Yeah. That is it for reader feedback this week. You can drop us a line at IGN_UK feedback at IGN.com, Facebook and Twitter /IGN UK. So yeah, do let us know your thoughts on any of the topics we've just spoken about, but also the news. What do you think about Nintendo branching out? And of course the PS Vita Slim. Now, games out this week. Finally, a new game is coming out, but it's not really new. It's kind of like the last one. So it's Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, which is Lara Croft with prettier graphics.
She does look very pretty though, it must be said.
So Keza reviewed it on the site and said it's same great game, but obviously, eye-popping visuals.
If
you haven't played it already, you should probably check it out on Xbox One, PS4.
Yeah, it does look very, very nice.
Yep. Also, Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Stormfall Burst. No idea what that is. But it's Naruto. That's how you pronounce Naruto, according to Per Schneider. He taught me that.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So again, very quiet month. Quiet week. We expect a lot more happening next month. We'll start seeing some big games coming out.
And then March is mental.
Yep, mental March.
Cool. And on the film side of things, we have Out of the Furnace coming out.
What's that?
Christian Bale film, bit of fighting, bit of drama.
He's been in a lot lately.
It's got a very good cast. Yeah, he has been in a lot. It's got a very good cast. Creep saw it, quite liked it. I haven't seen it.
Right.
We've got Lone Survivor, which is a controversial war film that's made a lot of money in the States, but it's got kind of very right-wing political leanings that's been causing lots of debate in the media. Mark Wahlberg stars.
Yep.
I haven't seen it.
It's supposed to be quite hard going. From like one of my friends saw it and said it's like you walk out of it and it's a bit like, oh my God.
I think it's full on.
Yeah.
In your face.
Yeah.
War film. I, Frankenstein is out this week.
Aye.
Which I haven't seen.
What's that going to be like?
Hey up. That is Aaron Eckhart playing Frankenstein, and it's trying to reinvent him as kind of almost an action hero. I think they're hoping it's going to be a franchise. It's from the people that made the Underworld movies. It looks like it's got a very similar aesthetic, and I really have very little interest in it. When
I first saw the trailer, I thought it was what was the
Two-Face gone wrong?
No, because I didn't even recognise who it was. What was the Highlander? I thought it was the dude from Highlander from 20 years ago, and I can't remember his name.
Christopher Lambert.
Yeah, because I guess it's the makeup that's done like him, and I just thought Christopher Lambert. Gosh, you haven't aged very well. But it's not. It's amazing makeup.
It's Two-Face.
Yeah.
And the final film I have seen.
Right.
It's called That Awkward Moment.
Yeah.
Is that
It's that average moment, really. It's Zac Efron's romantic comedy.
Why did you go and see that?
I was reviewing it for the site. I was quite looking forward to it. It's a romantic comedy from the guy's point of view, and it's got a couple of really good up-and-coming actors. Miles Teller, who was in 21 and Over, and that's The Spectacular Now. He's a fantastic actor, and he's in the shortlist to play Reed Richards in Fantastic Four.
Right.
Michael B. Jordan, who is in Chronicle.
Yes, he was good.
And Fruitvale Station, and he is the only candidate apparently to play the Human Torch in Fantastic Four. Yeah. So a couple of guys that are on the verge of greatness, and they're both good in it. But
Zac Efron.
And Zac Efron, who can be good. I mean, he's just too smug in this film.
Yeah.
I didn't like his character, and his character is the main character, and you shouldn't be rooting for the main girl and the main guy not to get together, which is what I was doing. Right. I just didn't want them to get together because I thought he was a dick.
Yeah.
And I found that film a little bit, just got on my nerves. Very, very average.
Right. So if you're going to pick one out of that list?
Out of the Furnace or Lone Soldier.
Okay. Is it Lone Soldier or Lone Survivor?
Lone Survivor. So that's been written wrong.
Okay.
But also, I don't really want to
scratch it out on your notes.
I don't know if I should say it, but is that not a spoiler alert in the title? I don't know. I don't know what happens in the movie, but
maybe that's a twist.
Yeah, let's hope so. Otherwise, they've given it all away.
Yeah.
But we're coming in quite early this week, so
yeah.
Anyone got any exciting plans for the weekend?
Sleep.
I might paint my toilet.
Okay.
Let us know what colour you would like me to paint my toilet.
Luke, you doing anything exciting?
Not really. No.
Now that's an idea. Talking about Nintendo branching out. Imagine if they did toilets that look like the little warp pipes in Mario.
Oh,
what they made the sound effect when you flush.
Exactly.
There you go.
As you drop one. That'd be amazing.
There you go, Nintendo. You can have that for free.
It just pops up in somebody else's bathroom.
Anything on the site we should be flagging up?
Krupa Krupa and Stu together made a brilliant horror video game montage, right?
To celebrate Halloween at the end of January.
It was brilliant. So it's 13 horror games you shouldn't turn your back on. look at it because it's really
very
well
good.
edited and really well written and great voiceover. And it's one of the things I think we're most proud of for a
And
while.
It's much better than the 10 horror films you should look at for this year, which I did, which no one's talked about.
It was brilliant too, as well.
Must try harder.
We've also started up a new show called The Superhero Show, which is going live on the site every Saturday, and it's Dan and myself talking about the superhero news of the week and analysing what's been happening in the movies. So, have a look at that if you can. And also send us any feedback for that. If you've got any superhero questions, we're going to address them on the show as well.
All at the same address?
Yes.
IGN_UK feedback at IGN.com.
Just do us a favour and stick superhero in the subject line because I got confused trying to sort through them today.
Oh, well, there's some for superhero.
Yeah, there's some already.
I didn't know that.
There you go.
That's Look at his face. That's it for this week's podcast. Thank you very much for listening, or if you're watching, thank you for watching, and we will be back same time next week. Until then, adios.
Bye.
Au revoir.